Oh, that's quite a short question. Who is this from?
This is from me, Sifran.
Oh, if birth is suffering, shouldn't we not celebrate a newborn? Yeah. So knowing the teaching is one thing, celebrating birthday is another thing. Yeah. Shouldn't we celebrate? Shouldn't we not? Should we not? Double negation. Your question has double negation. So it means, should we celebrate a newborn? Yeah.
What I mean is we shouldn't have to celebrate a newborn because it's a suffering.
Yeah. Shouldn't we not celebrate a newborn? Then we should celebrate death. Why should we celebrate death? We do celebrate death actually. We celebrate the death of the Buddha because his death is different from our death. Our death leads to more rebirth. His death is the complete cessation of suffering. Yeah. So in a way, we celebrate so-called death, but we also don't celebrate death. We don't celebrate death because we in a way because we haven't really completely ended suffering. Yeah. But we also don't celebrate death because we don't see that death itself is not the end of our endless cycle. Yeah. So shouldn't we not celebrate a newborn? In the Buddha's time, there's no Buddhist practice of birthday celebration or anything. Not to mention celebration of the birth of a newborn. But since the Buddha's time, people rejoice in having a baby. Yeah, for some reason. Yeah. So if birth is suffering, shouldn't we not celebrate a newborn? Do you think birth is suffering? Why is birth suffering? Why? Why is birth suffering? Is it only consciousness that follow to next rebirth, or Vedana, Sanya, and Sankara also follow? Vedana, Sanya, and Sankara don't follow. In fact, they arise, cease, arise, cease. And strictly speaking, if you go by classical teaching, consciousness also don't follow. Yeah. If you go by classical teaching, consciousness cease and then it rise and then it cease, rise, cease. So the consciousness that arises in a new birth is a new consciousness. But that new consciousness is conditioned by our karma. So in the Yogacara school, we say that consciousness is conditioned by karma that is planted in our eighth consciousness. Yeah. So, but do you know? Do you think? How many of you think that birth is suffering? Okay. How many of you think that birth is not suffering? How many of you cannot hear me? That's why there is void votes in election, Because Singaporeans always, vote for this one, don't know. That one, also don't know. So for those who think that birth is suffering, why do you all think birth is suffering? Huh? Is it because now life seems to be quite stressful and you have a hard time taking care of your, you look around and you find that, cost of living is getting higher, houses are getting into the millions of dollars. Yeah, even HDB is reaching million, some special places plus million. Yeah, and then the weather is getting erratic. Yeah, global warming. Yeah, is that why you think birth is suffering? So does that mean that if we somehow manage to solve all these problems, then birth is not suffering? So if we manage to change the society so that, let's say, I'm not suggesting a revolution. Let's say, okay, hypothetically speaking, if let's say now you found a place, or maybe you manage to improve the system so that from now on, yeah, education is free, totally free. Yeah, tax is capped at how much is our tax now? I don't know lah. But let's say tax is halved, okay, and healthcare is free. Yeah, so and then housing is heavily subsidized. Then in that case, is birth still suffering? Like if don't tell me no lah, Sifu, impossible. Let's say this happened now, okay, deng happened. Now I ask again, how many of you think birth is suffering? Still a handful. So why is birth suffering? You must explain yourself lah. Don't just say birth is suffering. Then zero. If ask a question, is birth suffering? Then you say yes, and then no explanation. 0 point.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think eventually I have to die lah. That's why I think birth is suffering.
Or eventually.
If I can live forever, then maybe to me it's not suffering.
Oh, okay. So at least there's an answer. Yeah. So, but Ken, don't get full marks, but at least get some points. Danny, how about Danny?
Sifu, I feel that there's a lot of suffering in life, and even if society is perfect, medical science is perfect, we can live to 300-400 years. There's no war, peace, and everything, but can never get rid of the dukkha, the unsatisfactoriness, and the grasping. Yeah, I think that one can't get rid of. So that causes a lot of suffering.
Oh, I see. So the unsatisfactoriness. So if you manage to solve the unsatisfactoriness, then birth is not suffering anymore.
Eventually still old age and death. So yeah.
So if just now said the second said if can solve that, then is birth still suffering?
Well, I think you can solve the unsatisfactoriness, you can solve old age and death, then
is it still suffering?
I think it sounds good. I think must get rid of the grasping. I think you get rid of the grasping. I think.
No. You are giving, some of you are giving two model answer already. Yeah. Okay, thank you. You also get some points. So never get full marks. Michael.
So in the beginning, I did agree that life is suffering, and then after that,
no, wait. We are asking about whether birth is suffering, not life is suffering.
I do agree that birth in the beginning is suffering. Like the moment you come out, you are crying already, and you are grasping for air, and then who knows that it's more comfortable inside the inside your mommy, stomach, then now come out, then you're crying and unfamiliar faces. You have to learn to breathe. It's so uncomfortable the moment you come out. So I do agree that in the beginning, birth is suffering, and you don't come out born with like a instructional PDF, tell you how to live your life. I think in a way, then in this manner, I think birth is suffering. But I believe that the birth is also not suffering.
No, in what way is it not suffering?
I think if you see that a human life is very, very precious, and it's so much to be thankful for, and there's a chance to do things right again, and then birth is definitely very precious.
Uh,
So that's my opinion. Then after that, much better. Then I think it's much better.
okay, also get some points. Siu Lon.
Life is suffering.
Uh-huh.
Life is suffering. What? If
So
not suffering, why everybody is trying to gain nirvana?
So how about birth?
Life is not suffering.
How about birth? Is birth suffering?
Yeah, birth is suffering. What?
So why
Because
is it
once you
suffering?
come out from the womb, then you have to start life all over again. Then you have to slot everything, and then you have to start all over again until your death. And then also why people strive for enlightenment.
But if you look at proportion, right?
Life is not suffering.
If you look at proportion, there are less people striving for nirvana than people striving for a new car.
Because life, because for a new car, you also have to go through hardship to get the new car.
Yeah. But I'm questioning your statement.
See, I don't have a car at
Wait.
all.
No,
I
wait.
cannot get a car. No money to buy a car.
Yeah, quite. You made a statement. Life must be suffering. Otherwise, why so many people strive for enlightenment, for nirvana?
Yeah.
So I counter that with saying, but from what we see, there are less people striving for nirvana than people striving for a car.
Yeah, because they are suffering, they don't know.
Yeah, but that doesn't prove that they are suffering. You are just saying, making statements. There's
They
no
have to work hard
substantive-
for everything. What?
No, wait. This is called logical reasoning. Your reason was saying that otherwise, why so many people strive for nirvana? So there must be suffering. I'm refuting that there are a lot of people striving for nirvana, that even something worldly, like pursuing a car, there are more people pursuing cars than pursuing nirvana. So if we just merely substantiate the presence of suffering by saying that there are a lot of people striving for nirvana, then it's self-defeating. Okay, yeah, think about it, because you don't seem to be replying to my counter. This can go back and forth for a long time. Okay, thank you.
I know people who have good life, they have everything, they have good life, so they don't see the other side,
Yes.
Those people who suffer, who have not so good life, so they think of the other life.
Yeah, so only people who suffer then want to strive for enlightenment. So Sifu must be suffering a lot. But then I was having quite a good life before I become a monk.
Are you sure you have good life? Sure you must be.
Huh? Hey, last time when I was not a monk, I was consultant. When I go to council,
Maybe you have a good life because you can go and take university, so
yeah.
you can have a good life.
When I go to work,
Those who cannot make it to university, they all suffering,
when I go to work, client pay my company, they still have to listen to me, Yeah, they don't do what I tell them to do. I tell them, you don't want to do we go and talk to your boss.
Yeah, those who
Huh?
make it
You don't want to do
university, they don't
Huh?
suffer.
You don't want to do okay, lor, then we don't do I write report. Cannot be done because team A is not able to do it. Then they immediately cancel. Now I cannot tell volunteers that. Okay, anyway, Siu Luan raised the hand, right? Siu Luan. Yeah, my life before I become a monk very sinang. Hey, Siu Luan, you raised hand. Do you want to say something? I don't know whether you are trying to say something, but if you are trying to say, cannot hear you anyway. Yeah. Okay, so some of you wrote other things. Just now I touched on Luna's question about consciousness going to the next life. I've touched on that quite thoroughly in various talks already. Let me just answer some of the more direct questions. Then we come back to this birth and suffering thing. Okay. Mayan morning Shifu and everyone. Shifu, does Buddhism allow tattoos? Like many things, Buddhism is a very free religion. Yeah. In fact, Buddhism never say that you cannot kill also. You know? Yeah. If you ask me, does Buddhism allow killing? Buddhism neither allow nor support killing. Buddhism, if you talk about killing, Buddhism just say, the Buddha don't advocate killing. The Buddha tells us that killing leads to suffering. Killing is leads to suffering in the here and now and leads to suffering in future. Yeah. Then he let us decide ourselves. That's why when we say Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami, yeah, it is not that Buddha, the translation is not Buddha tell me not to kill, so I don't kill. Yeah, the text is I undertake. I mean, even the I undertake to abstain from killing. Yeah, I undertake the precepts to abstain from killing. It's not a full translation, no? Because the part of it, the I is implicit. Because you are the one who is saying ma, so I ma. So even in terms of killing, it is your own choice. Yeah, it is your own choice. Buddhism is a very free religion. It doesn't impose things on people. The Buddha merely realized the causality of suffering. Yeah. What leads to suffering? Exactly what is suffering? You know? Yeah. And all this is encapsulated in the Four Noble Truths. But he never go around saying, this is the truth. You all must believe. You don't believe, you die. He don't do that. Yeah. So he pretty much leave it to people to decide for themselves. Yeah. Even the monks, when they quarrel, make a lot of noise, he come up, he tell them, it's not becoming for monks to be making so much noise. This is like a fish market, you know. Yeah. And ask them, you know, to be silent. They refuse, no? The Buddha, like, so the Buddha asked them twice. Then the Buddha told them, if you still continue, then I go. And they continue. They said, no, we must settle this. Then the Buddha went off. The Buddha have psychic power, right? The Buddha can just, but he don't do such things. Yeah. So does Buddhism allow tattoos? Buddhism has no allow or don't allow. Yeah. So unfortunately, you cannot use Buddhism to tell your son or daughter not to have tattoo. Personally, if you ask me, if I'm a lay person, I also won't go and get tattoo. And in our family, I know I think my mom ever talked to us about this. In my family, if you go and get tattoo, my father will whack you and then kick you out. Like, this is something. No discussion one. Yeah, but we can accept it because they're consistent. Since young, nothing is discussed. Yeah. And because although nothing is discussed, they show us that they get things done. They have their role to play. They take care of us. And we know that they love us. Yeah. So this part is this part needs to be in place before you can say no, cannot. Yeah. Unfortunately, this is not just about Mei Yan. This is about a lot of young parents, and maybe some not so young parents also. Yeah. We cherish the birth of a newborn so much. We try our best to give them the best we can give them. But unfortunately, like what where's that guy? Just now, that Gofu went off already, huh? Oh yeah, Michael. Like Michael said, when we are born, unfortunately, we don't have an instruction PDF, guide to my life. Similarly, when parents become parents, when people get married or when people have kids, the kid doesn't come with an instruction manual for the parents also. Yeah. When parents get married and then they have kids, it doesn't have instruction manual also. So we are so helpless and lost. We just grab any manual that come along that says guide to parenting. We also don't know whether it works. We just try off. So unfortunately, now a lot of young parents try this way. And unfortunately, most of the books, written by Americans. This I will own it, okay? Yeah. I mean, I know Americans, when you hear this, you will not be happy. But the fact is, if we follow Americans, the best we become Americans, right? And then you look at the state of parent-child relationship in America. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but you just look at it. I don't want that. If I'm a lay person and I'm a parent, I don't want that kind of relationship. Yeah, it's very tempting. It's very attractive. Wow, like a friend. Why you don't have enough friends? You need one more friend in your child. All the parents, you don't have enough friends in your life. By the time you get married, have kids, you should be about 30 already. What? How come you don't have friends? At least you have your wife as your friend, your husband as your friend. Why you still need one more friend? I don't understand parents these days. Oh, I must be a friend. I want to say stupid, but if you want, then what can I say, right? The trouble is, if you accept that, then you must accept that. If you accept that this precious child who is born to you, you want to be a friend to your child, then you must be consistently a friend. Friends don't have to listen to each other one, last I checked. I don't know how many times I must say this. Yeah. Friends cannot say, no, you must be like that. Can. Actually, you can. If you are the alpha friend, your friend cannot do without you. Then you can say whatever you want. Come, let's go and play ping pong. Then your friend, okay. Your friend need you more than you need him. Then you want to play ping pong, he play ping pong. You play halfway, I don't want to play it. Oh, okay, then what you want to do? Right? Sometimes, yeah. But if you are the friend that need that friend, then you say, let's go and play ping pong. Ping pong. So boring. Then you cannot play ping pong. Yeah. Then you have to do everything to satisfy that friend, which is how, if you look at many parent-child relationship is, right? The parent is the one who need the child, not the child need the parent. Although realistically speaking, the child do need the parent. Yeah. I'm not suggesting that parent-child relationship become a power play, right? Yeah. Don't have to be like that also. Yeah. But if you want that kind of Western or American style parenting, then you have to accept everything. Then you must accept that your child will tell you, how come you never knock before you come into my room? If I dare to tell my mom or father that, I cannot imagine myself saying that even in my wildest dream. Like I dream, if I fall asleep and I dream, and in the dream I fall asleep and I dream, and in the dream I fall asleep, like 10 times down the dream, I also cannot imagine myself saying that. But let's say one day I go crazy and I say that, right? You know what my mom will probably tell me? Which part of you want me to knock? My mom around, oh yeah. My mom never knocked the door one. Unless we happen to lock the door, then she cannot open. At home, in our home, only toilet door are locked. And only if you are shitting or bathing. Normal doors, who locks the door? What do you have to hide with one another at home? This is how our family is. Yeah. But if you have the Western style, oh, you're invading my privacy. My home is run as a socialist state. No privacy one. But if you ask me now, I never felt that my privacy was invaded. In fact, I felt that we are very closely knitted. That's why we don't need to close anything. Yeah, it's only when you feel like you have a huge separation between you and that person, then you need to have a barrier, ma. With your parents, why must that be a barrier? You live in your mother's body. Then now you want to have a privacy. Crazy. To me, it's a crazy idea. You want privacy, then your mother should have dig you out and then wrap you in cellophane tape, see whether you die or not. privacy or hate. But then today, I mean, this is going on YouTube, so who cares? People who have the modern thinking were like, oh no, how can a monk say this? I said it, so what you want to do with me? Okay, lor, dislike the video, lor. But it's okay. If you want privacy, can, yeah. You go and deal with it with your parents, or yeah. And you must knock the door, then like this, like that, IO. Also, it's a whole package. Yeah, it's a whole package. Yeah. We cannot say, I want part of this friend thing, and then yet on the other hand, I want to be able to tell my son or daughter, cannot do this, cannot do that. It doesn't work. Yeah. So far, I don't know. So far, it doesn't seem to work. Yeah. Oh, it's a whole package. Bobian. This is a private message. So I don't know. Or can birth is not intrinsically suffering, but it's what comes after birth that is suffering. Yes, this one has a bit more points. Yeah, but this is also, I don't know whether this statement is based on the model answer or not, but maybe not. If not, then you'll get more points. If model answer, also not much points. I don't want model answer. Model answer I know. Yeah. Why do I not want model answer? So once you're teaching the Dharma, I don't want model answer from you. Why? Because if you give model answer, there's 2 to the letter. It may mean that you are just regurgitating what you have learned. Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't regurgitate that in our day-to-day life. If you can regurgitate whole day, no problem also. Yeah, that means you really internalize already. Yeah. And what I mean is, if you just regurgitate the Dharma, then how about your daily life? Daily life, you have a different set of values. Daily life, if you have a different set of values, then the Dharma doesn't do anything for you. No? Xiaofang says, good morning, Sifu and everyone. Birth itself may not be suffering if we know how to live it. But not knowing how to manage with the mental and physical pain, then life can be very stressful. Yes, that is quite true. Mayan says, thanks, Sifu, for replying. Wei Qing, right? Wei Qing says, morning, Sifu and everyone. I think for people to suffer or not depend on individual, the way they approach life or events. Yeah. So in that case, then is birth still suffering? Because the Buddha did declare birth is suffering, ma? Yeah, you don't see the Buddha saying life is suffering. Yeah, but he did say birth is suffering. Yeah, the first noble truth, first of the 8 types of suffering or 7 types of suffering, right? Yeah. So if you look at the sutta, now more answer. Yeah. The Buddha says that from birth arises aging, sickness, and death. Aging, sickness, and death is suffering. That which gives rise to suffering cannot be far away from suffering. Yeah. This is the reason why the Buddha declared birth as suffering. So it's very interesting because if you look at commentaries, it's a bit different. Commentary talk about what some of you mentioned, yeah, about being in the womb and things like that, and then the process of birth. Yeah. And for the longest time, I learned that and I thought that is the case. Yeah, makes sense. Or inside the womb, very tight. Yeah. And then after you are born, then there's much pain, and your mother also face a lot of pain. So that's why it's suffering. But in the sutta, the Buddha don't talk about that. Yeah. The Buddha's primary focus of why birth is suffering is that with birth as a condition, aging, sickness, and death, separation from loved one, contact with unpleasant one, not getting what you want, all this, all the tribulations of life, the whole mess of suffering arise because of death as a condition, birth as a condition. Very interesting. Yeah. So it's based on wisdom. This is based on purely wisdom, on conditionality. That which gives rise to suffering, its essence, its nature, it's cannot be far from suffering itself. Yeah. But people still celebrate birthday. So last time, once a month, we'll celebrate the birthday baby, yeah, when we have the SGC, right? So, and I will often highlight to them this part, yeah. So, but I will also highlight that the Buddha's birth, yeah, is different because his birth leads to the end of suffering. Yeah. So may we all celebrate the birth that leads to end of suffering, not the birth that leads to suffering. May we cultivate the Dharma, learn the Dharma, cultivate the conditions for our birth to lead to lesser suffering to no suffering. And each day as we wake up, it's like a new birth. Each time we go to work, it's like being born in the office. We should ask ourselves, does our birth in the office lead to suffering for people or lesser suffering for people? When we encounter people, we are born to them in a way. Is our birth leading to their liberation or leading to more of their suffering? May we all strive to the birth that leads to no suffering. 阿弥陀佛。愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿得智慧真明了，
愿得智慧真明了，
不愿罪障悉消除，
普愿罪障悉消除，
世世常行菩萨道。
世世常行菩萨道。
Till we meet again, may be guided and protected by the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And as always,
拜拜。
Thank you, Sifu.
have a normal day ahead.
Thank you, Sifu.
Thank you, Sư.
Thank you,
Bye.
Sifu.
Thank you, everyone. Take care. Stay safe.
Yes.
谢谢师父。